Hello everyone, my name is Shubhajit and today we will be discussing about the useEffect hooks best practices, and for that we will be watching into the data fetching inside the useEffect hook. Okay, so let's get started. Let me show you what all we have on the table. We have two state variables and we have a useEffect hook. I assume that you should be having some basic knowledge of useState and useEffect hook before starting this video, so I would highly recommend to watch these two hooks videos before watching this. I will also put them in the description. They are present in our channel. You can go and have a look and then come back and continue. Okay, now data fetching in React is something external to React, so that's why use effect is used here, where we need to fetch the data from some external API that will give us the result, and after that we will be setting some state variable in our component, which will again change the UI based on the fetched data. Let me show you the UI and then I will explain you what all is there. Okay, so you can see we have a drop down having three options to be selected, and then we are actually showing the name whatever we have selected here. So if we have select Bob, then Bob will be shown here. If we select Taylor, then Taylor will be shown here. But there is a little twist. Okay, what is the twist? Let's see. So corresponding to that, we have a select option, and inside that we have three options: Alice, Bob, and Taylor. Okay, so inside this select HTML tag, we have this onChange handler, which will actually, whenever the options are changed, what it will do, it will set the person to that option, e.target.value. Let's say this Alice option is selected, that e.target.value is Alice. So set person to Alice. Okay, then if the option Bob is selected, then this will, what it will do, it will set the person to Bob. This e.target.value will give us Bob at that time. Same for Taylor. Okay, I hope this is understood. And this set person, this is actually setting a state variable called person. Whenever the state variable person changes, you can see that we have a use effect which uses the person as the inside the dependency array. So whenever there is a change in the person state variable, this use effect will run. Okay, I will explain you what this use effect is. But before that, and also after this, we have a bio. We will show the bio of the person, which is tagged to this state variable. So if this bio is not null, this double question mark is, if this bio is uh, not null, then show the bio, else show this loading bar. So this line basically says, okay, if the bio is present, show the bio, or else show the loading bar. So the loading bar will be shown till the time bio is null. When the bio is non-null or it has got some value, then the bio will be shown inside the paragraph tag. Okay, I hope you understood this. So the UI part is done. Now let's go inside the use effect. So as I have told, that whenever this person changes, and how this person changes whenever we are changing this option value, okay, from the UI. Whenever this person value changes, this use effect gets triggered. So inside this use effect, this code runs. So here we have just three lines of code, setting the bio to null. Why we are setting this bio to null? It's just to clear up the bio. Okay, so whatever bio we have previously, it will just set the bio to null, so that now we can set the bio to some other thing with a fresh start kind of stuff. Then we will be calling the external API. So this is the external API call. So this fetch bio person, this fetch bio is an external API. This fetch bio person is the call to the external API. This external API will actually return us a promise, and whenever that promise will be resolved, then this then will run, and this result will be set to the set bio inside the set bio state variable. So the bio will get this result. Okay, I will explain you a little bit more deeply here, so don't worry about this. Let us see that what this fetch bio person is doing. So we have this fetch bio person. For now, just forget about this time delay and everything going on. We are just console logging the time delay at first, and then we are returning a new promise. We are returning a promise, and this promise is resolved. So I would highly recommend you to go through any of the promise articles or any video if you are not aware of the promise. Okay, so yeah, what this promise actually does is this promise has a resolve and a reject. So a promise can be either resolved or rejected. That is, either it passes or either it fails, kind of stuff, if you want to relate to. So what we are doing here inside this promise, we are having a set timeout, and what if we are telling that after this time delay, resolve this promise with the person which is passed inside the fetch bio. Okay, now what it means, it means that whenever this fetch bio person will be called, it will return me a new promise, and this promise will be resolved after a certain time delay, and after it is resolved, it is actually resolving with the same person which we are passing inside the fetch bio. Okay, so let me show you what is happening here. So whenever this fetch bio person is called, so let's say initially the person was Alice, right? Yeah, and I change it to, let's say, Bob. Okay, so I changed it to Bob. Now the value of person state variable is Bob. A change is detected inside the use effect. So now this use effect runs taking into account that the person is Bob. So fetch bio Bob. This fetch bio Bob will return me a promise. Okay, and whenever that promise is resolved, that is after some delay, because we have a set timeout of some delay. After that set timeout finishes, then it will be, the promise will be resolving with some value, and that value will be passed inside this then, and I will be setting the bio to that value. I hope this this path is now understood that what is happening. Okay, let me also put the time delay now, like into your understanding. So what I am doing here is this time delay is a bit dynamic. Why it is dynamic? It is dynamic because I am decreasing the time delay by 4 seconds here. 4000 milliseconds, that is 4 seconds here on each fetch bio call. So whenever a fetch bio is called, so initially the time delay is 9000, and now I am changing the time delay to 5000 milliseconds on the first fetch bio call. So for the first fetch bio call, this time delay is 5000 milliseconds. I will tell you why I am doing this. And for the second time when fetch bio will be called, the time delay will be time delay minus 4000. That is, so 5000 it was initially, it was from the previous fetch bio call. So 5000 minus 4000, which is 1000 now. Now for the second fetch bio call, this time delay will be 1000 milliseconds. That is only 1 second. What I'm trying to achieve here. Okay, what I'm trying to achieve here, to understand that, I should show you the demo. So initially we have this as 9000. Okay, it is running twice due to the strict mode, and due to that only, I have actually skipped the first two times. because fetch bio will be called for the first two times just during mounting. So I just want to ignore those uh, ignore those first two times. So that's why I have put an if statement. If count is greater than 2, then time delay is equals to time delay minus 4000. This will not be run if count is lesser than equals to 2. Okay, so for the first two times this time delay will not change. So from the third time, and for us, for the first time when fetch bio called, it will be changed. Okay, I hope you are understanding why I'm telling for the application it's third time, but for us it is actually the first time because we have just started interacting with it. Okay, and due to the strict mode it runs twice at the start. Okay, so 9000 is there. Now whenever I change it to Bob and whenever I make it to Taylor, can you see first it becomes Taylor and then it becomes Bob. Let me refresh it once again. Okay, yeah. So what I will do, I will initially make it Bob, and then after a very less amount of time I will make it Taylor. So ideally on the output, as I have changed it to Taylor, the last thing which should be shown here should be Taylor, right? But Bob will be shown, and I will explain you the whole thing why. So I have made it Bob, and now I'm making it Taylor. Okay, so Taylor, and then you can see Bob. And you can also see 5000 and 1000. So this is due to the console log time delay, and this is a dynamic delay. Every time we are decreasing it by 4000. The first use effect call, for the first fetch bio call it's 5000, for the second fetch bio call it is 1000 milliseconds. And due to this only this anomalous behavior is happening. So whenever we are making an API call to an external API, it might happen that we are making two simultaneous requests, and it might happen that the first request takes longer time than the second request, and the second request arrives early, and still the first request is arriving. So the second request arrives early and the first request arrives after the second request. Then React should not actually render the UI with the first request, because the second request is already made, and it's not the fault of the second request to come early and the first request arriving late. Even though as it is the second request or the most updated request, second request should be shown on the UI. But here if you see the second request, which is Tyler, it is not shown on the UI. On the UI Bob is only shown. Okay, also giving a little bit more detail, this Bob fetch bio call, okay, this Bob fetch bio call having a delay of 5000 milliseconds before getting back the data, and this Taylor, whatever at the last I have changed, this Taylor fetch bio call have a delay of only 1000 milliseconds. So before completing the 5000 milliseconds, I have made the Taylor call, and the Taylor call got resolved before the Bob's call only, and that's why the Taylor initially appeared first at the UI, but after that Bob's call is resolved and then Bob is shown on the UI. So you can see there is a mismatch here now, and this is not good practice. This is not good in React. This is a bug which you have created in React now, and this is not a good practice, and I will show you what a good practice is. I will also explain you what is actually happening. So this is use effect call for Bob. That is the first call. Okay, okay. And down here we have the use effect call for Taylor. That is the second call. Okay. So whenever the use effect call for Bob is made, whenever the use effect call for Bob is made, set by null, that is happening for everyone. So just ignore that. Then fetch bio person. Fetch bio person is happening, and this fetch bio person 9000 minus 4000 milliseconds. Okay, so for 5000 milliseconds, the set timeout will be made, and after 5000 milliseconds, this fetch bio for the person which is Bob will be resolved. Okay, so okay, sorry. After 5, let's say 5 seconds, Bob. Okay, so after 5 seconds, it will actually resolve this promise with a value of Bob, and when it does that, set the bio to that result, whatever it has resolved with. So that is Bob. Okay, so after 5 seconds, set bio to uh, Bob is happening. Okay, but this is not the case here. Okay, this is not the case here. Here after 1 second this is happening. Why? Because whenever we make the second use effect call, this time delay is again decreased by 4000. So it was 5000 with the previous call, and 4000 if we decrease 1000 millisecond. That is 1 second is only there. So it means after 1 second set bio to Taylor will happen. Now, if I try to do it fast, what I have shown on the UI, I will select Bob, then just in a few time I will select Taylor. Now internally what is happening is the Bob's set bio is not yet called, and meanwhile you have changed the fetch bio call to Taylor. So now the set bio Taylor, due to its very less timeout delay, the set bio Taylor is called, and that's why you are able to see Taylor on the UI. And after that this set bio Bob is called, and then you will be able to see the Bob on the UI. We have to devise a mechanism where we should not call set bio Bob if the set bio Taylor is called, or we can say that if a next use effect is called. So this is the use effect first call, this is the use effect second call. Okay, so we want that whenever we are coming out of the first call of use effect, that fetch set bio Bob should not only happen. Okay, let me show you how to do that. Sorry, we can have an ignore variable. I will explain you what it does. So now here we have took the help of this return statement. So whenever a use effect is destroyed, or from one use effect instance, whenever we are going to another use effect instance of the same component, then this thing runs. And this will be very much useful for us in this case. So initially we have set the ignore to false. So we are saying that we will not ignore this thing. So ignore is false. Okay. Now we are making the fetch bio request dot then result. The result arrives after a certain time delay based on whatever it is. Okay. And then we will check ki hey, if not of ignore. So if ignore was false only, then not of false will be true. And if true, so it will go inside and set the bio to result. Very good. But let's say before this fetch bio getting resolved, if the person changes, that is the person is changed to, let's say, from Bob to Taylor now in a very less time. So in that moment the set bio Bob hasn't ran, and the use effect for um, set bio Taylor has been called. Okay, so in that case one more use effect instance will be created, but it will only be created before making the previous use effect instance ignore value as false. So now we know that for the Bob's use effect, the ignore value as true. The Bob's use effect, the ignore value is true, and after that only it is making a new use effect for Taylor. Okay, let's note these things here. So after 5 seconds set by Bob. if before 5 seconds we select some other option, then one more use effect instantiated, and before that it will destroy, it will not destroy, it will run the return statement in where, inside the uh, use effect of Bob, which is which is ignore is equals ignore is equals to true. Now what will happen when ignore for it is true, right? Okay. Now Taylor's call is made. Taylor's call is made. Okay. Now Taylor's call is made normally. Uh, Set bio Taylor is called, and uh, normally sets the bio to Taylor. This is fine. The only thing to understand here is the ignore is now true for the use effect, which is actually setting the bio to Bob. So here if you see, okay, might sound a little bit tricky, but just here with like full attention, the Taylor's call is resolved before the uh, set bio of Bob. Fine. And due to that, the ignore is true for the bio now. Till this, it is fine. Now the Bob's call is being resolved. Now if I check inside the if not of ignore for the Bob, ignore is true, not of ignore is false, set bio result will not be called. So we are able to stop the set bio result for the Bob, for Bob, that is set bio Bob, we are able to stop when we have Taylor called just before that, just before resolving this. Okay, let me also show you this in action. Let's clear this out. Refresh this thing, and initially, yes, it will be 9,000 milliseconds. For the second, for the first call, it will be 5,000 milliseconds, and then on the second call, it will be 1,000 milliseconds. So let's see it in action. Now I select Bob. Now just after that, I will select Taylor. Can you see? It's now Taylor only. It's now changing to Bob. So this is, and 5,000 and 1,000, they are there. Why it has happened? It has happened because this ignore variable actually um, will not let us to set the bio of Bob, whose use effects return statement has ran, because it has made the ignore value to true. And now only the newest use effect instance will be taken. I hope you got it. I know it is a bit long and a bit tricky kind of stuff, but it is a good practice to use ignore for fetching data with effects. There are also some APIs which actually, and libraries which helps us to do that, which are more optimized. So you can also look at them. Okay. So yeah, that's all for today's video. Thanks a lot for watching this for so long. And if you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment section. I will be very happy to help there. Thank you.